In the Philippines, the construction of a new U.S.-funded runway marks a turning point in Southeast Asia's security landscape. This project is more than an infrastructure upgrade. It's a bold signal of renewed military partnership between Washington and Manila, aimed squarely at countering China's growing assertiveness. The Philippines, once distant, is now a central player in the U.S.-China rivalry, with the new runway symbolizing a strategic realignment that has Beijing on edge. The stakes are high. What happens here could reshape the Indo-Pacific's balance of power. We'll break down the details of this runway, the motivations behind the U.S.-Philippine alliance, and China's fierce reaction. The South China Sea's ongoing disputes provide the backdrop, highlighting the risks of miscalculation and conflict. This isn't just about a runway, it's about a new front line in a 21st century great power competition. Understanding this project means understanding the future of peace and security in one of the world's most vital regions. Basa Air Base, located northwest of Manila, has long been a cornerstone of Philippine air defense. But today it stands at the center of a sweeping transformation that is reshaping the region's security landscape. Once a modest installation, Basa is now at the heart of a major modernization effort, reflecting the growing strategic partnership between the Philippines and the United States. The U.S. is investing millions to expand its capacity, building a massive new parking apron and taxiway to host up to 20 modern military aircraft. This expansion will allow for a greater variety of aircraft, from fighter jets to transport planes, to operate seamlessly from the base. These upgrades, funded under the Pacific Deterrence Initiative, are designed to boost both Philippine and American operational capabilities. The construction work is not just about infrastructure, it's about building trust and interoperability between allied forces. The refurbished runway and new facilities allow for rapid deployment and joint operations, making Basa a key node in the U.S. forward defense strategy. In times of crisis, this means faster response times and more coordinated action. Under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, American forces can now use Philippine bases for training, equipment storage, and operations. This deepens military cooperation and ensures both nations are better prepared for any contingency. Recent U.S. funding, over $128 million for multiple sites, signals a long-term commitment. These investments are not just about hardware but about strengthening alliances and regional stability. Basa is evolving from a national airbase into a joint-use facility, ready for crisis response and humanitarian missions. Its upgraded infrastructure is designed to support both military and civilian needs in times of emergency. Strategically positioned near the South China Sea, Basa now projects power closer to regional flashpoints, enhancing deterrence and providing a critical platform for allied operations. This transformation is about deterrence, resilience, and ensuring the Philippines is no longer alone in a crisis. It's a message to both allies and adversaries that the region's security is a shared responsibility. The upgrades make clear, the U.S. is back in force, and its presence is more robust and visible than it has been in decades. As regional observers watch these changes unfold, the world is taking note of Basa's new role at the front lines of Indo-Pacific security. The U.S. military presence in the Philippines isn't just about construction, it's about capability. What's unfolding is a transformation of the archipelago into a strategic hub, with new infrastructure paving the way for advanced operations and rapid deployment. MQ-9, Reaper drones now patrol from Basa, providing real-time surveillance over the South China Sea and giving both nations a crucial intelligence edge. These drones can track naval movements, monitor disputed islands, and relay vital data to commanders in seconds, making the region more transparent and more tense than ever before. More provocatively, the U.S. Army's Typhoon missile system has arrived, bringing land-based Tomahawk cruise missiles and Standard Missile 6S within striking distance of key Chinese assets. This marks a significant leap in the U.S. military's ability to project power deep into contested territory. Originally deployed for exercises, these systems now have a semi-permanent presence, a major shift in regional firepower. Their continued deployment signals a new era of deterrence, with the Philippines playing a central role in the U.S. Indo-Pacific strategy. For the first time, the U.S. can launch long-range strikes from Philippine soil, directly threatening Chinese military installations. This capability not only changes the military balance but also sends a powerful message to Beijing about American resolve. Officials frame these deployments as defensive, but Beijing sees them as a direct challenge. The rhetoric on both sides is intensifying, with each move watched closely by allies and rivals alike. The message is clear: the U.S. is not just preparing for future contingencies, it's positioning advanced assets in the Philippines now. This forward posture is designed to deter aggression, reassure partners, and demonstrate commitment to regional security. This new reality fundamentally alters the security equation in the South China Sea. The presence of U.S. missiles and drones means that any conflict here would escalate rapidly, with consequences far beyond the region. The Philippines is no longer just a bystander, it's a frontline state in a high-stakes standoff. Its partnership with the U.S. brings both new opportunities and new risks. As Manila navigates between great powers, the risk of escalation has never been higher. As advanced weaponry and surveillance systems arrive, the region stands on edge, one miscalculation away from crisis. The U.S.-Philippine alliance has tightened in response to China's relentless pressure in the South China Sea. Years of harassment by Chinese vessels convinced Manila it couldn't face Beijing alone. After a period of warming ties with China, President Marcos Jr. pivoted back to Washington, prioritizing security over unfulfilled economic promises. For the U.S., the Philippines' location is indispensable, sitting astride vital sea lanes and close to Taiwan. The Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, revived and expanded, now gives the U.S. access to 9 bases, legalizing troop rotations and infrastructure upgrades. This agreement turns the alliance from words on paper into a real, operational partnership. The runway at Basa and the deployment of advanced systems are the visible results of this new era. Together, Manila and Washington are sending a message: they're united against coercion. China's response has been swift and furious. Beijing sees the U.S. Philippine military buildup as a direct provocation and a threat to its security. Chinese officials have condemned the new runway and missile deployments, accusing the U.S. of encirclement and the Philippines of becoming a pawn. The Typhoon missile system, in particular, has drawn sharp rebukes, with China warning Manila it's inviting trouble. Beyond rhetoric, China has ramped up its own patrols and confrontations at sea, aiming to intimidate and pressure the Philippines to reconsider its alignment. Beijing's goals sow doubt, create fear, and make the costs of hosting U.S. forces painfully clear. The region is now caught in a cycle of escalation and counter-escalation. The South China Sea is the flashpoint driving these military moves. China claims nearly the entire waterway, building artificial islands and deploying Coast Guard and militia to enforce its claims. Confrontations with Philippine forces have become routine and dangerous. In 2024, Chinese aircraft and ships aggressively challenged Philippine patrols, including a near collision between a PLA helicopter and a Philippine plane. These gray zone tactics are designed to intimidate without triggering outright war. The Philippines, backed by a 2016 International Tribunal ruling, sees U.S. support as its best hope for deterring further Chinese aggression. The American presence is meant to make Beijing think twice before escalating, but the risk of a miscalculation at sea or in the air is ever present. The upgrades in the Philippines are part of a broader U.S. strategy to outmaneuver China in the Indo-Pacific. Traditional American bases in Japan and Guam are now vulnerable to Chinese missiles. The Pentagon's new approach, agile combat employment, disperses forces across a network of smaller, harder-to-target bases. The Philippines, with its strategic location, is now a key node in this web. By spreading out assets and adding new launch points, the U.S. complicates China's military planning and increases its own resilience. The presence of systems like Typhoon in the Philippines creates new offensive dilemmas for Beijing. This strategy is about more than defense. It's about shaping the environment and deterring aggression by raising the costs for China. The U.S. is making it clear, any conflict will be unpredictable and costly for its adversaries. The chessboard has changed, and the stakes are higher than ever. America's dispersal strategy extends far beyond the Philippines. It's a sweeping approach that stretches across the vast Pacific, reshaping the region's security landscape. The U.S. military is no longer relying on a handful of large, vulnerable bases. Instead, it's spreading its forces across dozens of locations, making it much harder for any adversary to deliver a decisive blow. The U.S. is restoring old airfields like Tinian near Guam to serve as backup launch pads if primary bases are hit. These once-forgotten runways are being brought back to life, with new infrastructure and modern technology, so that American aircraft can disperse quickly and operate from unexpected locations. Tinian's upgraded facilities will support fighters, bombers, and vital tanker aircraft, ensuring operations can continue even under attack. The ability to refuel, rearm, and launch missions from multiple points means the U.S. can adapt rapidly to changing threats, keeping its forces unpredictable and resilient. Similar efforts are underway in Australia and Japan, with new access agreements and joint training. These partnerships deepen military ties and allow for seamless cooperation in times of crisis, strengthening the collective defense of the region. Each new base and partnership adds resilience, making the U.S. military posture harder to dismantle. The network of installations forms a web of support, where each node can back up the others, complicating any adversary's plans. The Philippines is the most prominent and provocative piece of this regional web. Its strategic location puts it at the center of U.S. efforts to project power and deter aggression, making it a critical link in the chain. The goal: create a layered, distributed defense that deters any adversary from believing a quick strike could cripple U.S. power. By spreading out assets and building redundancy, the U.S. ensures it can absorb a first blow and still fight back. China is watching closely, aware that the U.S. is building a network designed to withstand and respond to any threat. This evolving posture signals to Beijing that any attempt to disrupt the balance will be met with a flexible and formidable response. The message is unmistakable: the U.S. is here to stay, and its allies are not alone. This united front sends a powerful signal of commitment and shared resolve to defend the region's stability. The Pacific is now a chessboard of bases, each move raising the stakes for peace and conflict. In this high-stakes game, every new outpost and partnership shapes the future of security in the Indo-Pacific. The new runway at Basa Air Base is a symbol of a new era, one defined by confrontation and uncertainty. The U.S. Philippine alliance, reinvigorated by shared concerns over China, is reshaping the region's military balance. For Manila and Washington, these moves are about deterrence and defending sovereignty. For Beijing, they're a direct challenge, fueling anger and aggressive countermeasures. The risk a single incident could spiral into a wider conflict neither side wants. The future of Asia hinges on how this high-stakes competition is managed. The peace is fragile, the balance precarious. The world is watching as the next chapter in the Pacific unfolds.